Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Lead with Giants TV. My name is Tal Schnell. I'm here with several people here. Our guest is today Bob Burg. Welcome to our show this evening.
Hi, Tal. Great to be with y'all.
Great, great. And we'll do some introductions quickly here, but I'd like to welcome our audience. This is going to be a great show, so we look forward to having a great discussion here. So let's do quick introductions. We'll go ahead and start with Dan Forbes.
Hey everybody, I'm Dan Forbes, founder of the Lead with Giants community that you'll find at leadwithgiants.com. We span Twitter, Google+, LinkedIn, and Facebook, and good to be with you here in Lead with Giants TV. I'm hanging out from Sarasota, Florida.
And recently he's been in Texas, in Austin, so it's great to kind of get a feel of that Texas heat, as we say. So
I still have some Texas on my shoes, even as we speak.
Woo! All right. We're going to have to get him a Texas buckle belt to really get himself acquainted here. Let's go over to Liz.
Hi, I'm Liz Stinselli with Stinselli Advisors, coming to you from Salt Lake City.
Great to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Great. Steve, go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Steve Bro from Scottsdale, Arizona. I'm the author of Leaders in Transition, and I'm academic professor with the University of Phoenix.
Great to have you here this evening. I'm glad you can join us.
It's good to have the smartest guy in the room here tonight.
I'm sorry?
I said it's good to have the smartest guy in the room.
Yeah, we need a little bit of the academics here, so it's great to have that, someone to keep us in line. But Bob, welcome to our show. It's a great pleasure to have you here. The author and speaker of the Go Giver, which wasn't your first book, but obviously the Go Giver made an impact, and then you wrote the second book, which is Adversaries and Allies, which I got into Allies, which I got the other day, and it's a great read. So lots of great stuff on leadership, but let's start with the Go Giver. Tell us how did that philosophy, I know you wrote this book with a co-author, and it's a wonderful story. What's the philosophy behind the Go Giver?
Really, Tal, it's nothing more than shifting one's focus from getting to giving. And in this context, when we say giving, we simply mean constantly and consistently providing value to others, providing value to individuals, providing value to the marketplace as a whole. And that doing so is not only a nice way to live life, but a very financially profitable way as well. It fits in with free market economics, in which no one has to buy from you or do business with you, so the reason they're going to do it is because they know that your aim is to provide them with great value.
This is a great topic, because I know one of your laws that you described there is the law of value. How important value is not only to the selling aspect of the experience, but also the customer part of it. Tell us about that.
Well, my Go-Giver, author, John David Mann, and I want to really credit John because he was the storyteller. The Go-Giver was a parable, a business fable. I'm a how-to person. I'm step one, step two, step three. John is a brilliant writer, so I really thank him for bringing the characters alive. And we really believe that money is an echo of value. It's the thunder to value's lightning, which means nothing more than that the value must come first. And the money you receive is simply a very natural and direct result of the value you provide. What's key to understand, because value can really be defined as the relative worth or desirability of a thing to the end user or beholder. In other words, what is it about this thing, this product, service, concept, idea, opportunity that brings so much worth or value to another person that they will exchange their money or time or opportunity cost or whatever for that and feel great about it while you make a profit. So with this in mind, we have to understand that value is always in the eyes of the beholder. It's not what we think they should value. It's not what we think they should want, need, or desire. It's what they feel is of value. So when we step out of when we move from what we call an I focus or a me focus to an other focus, now we're really able to align with that person. We're able to connect with that person, which is something I know is one of your core values.
Absolutely, and I'm so glad you brought that up. But I want to give an opportunity to some of our folks here to ask some questions.
Yeah, I've got something. I've been having a lot of discussions recently about elevator speeches because I've always hated the term and the idea of a canned reply to someone when you meet someone. Basically, your elevator speech is you're telling them how great you are and trying to set a little hook there. Because my philosophy has always been, rather than seeking to be interesting to other people, if you are genuinely interested in other people, that's how you establish a connection with them. And that seems to fit with what you're describing here, Bob.
Dan, I couldn't agree with you more, and it's really funny that you say that because as someone who really, my first book was Endless Referrals, Network Your Everyday Contacts into Sales. I talk on networking, so people expect when I'm speaking on stage that I'm going to say, you know, when you meet this person and you ask them what they do, they tell you you should have this great elevator speech. No! Absolutely not. Just say what you do, and then you're going to throw it right back. And I mean, you know, I'm a realtor with so-and-so, or I'm in the so-and-so business, or what have you, a 3-second response, and just you go right back to asking them about themselves. Why? Because right now, at this point in the conversation, the interest that that person has in you and your business can be summarized in 3 words. They don't care. Okay, so right now, let's first show genuine and authentic interest in them. Let's ask them questions such as, how did you get started in your business? You know, what do you enjoy the most about it? Ask what I call the one key question that will set you apart. How can I know if someone I'm speaking with would be a good prospect for you? Again, let's move from that I focus of the elevator speech into the other focus where we're totally focused on that person and adding value to that person's life. There's plenty of time for them to know what we do and the benefits of what we do and how those benefits may or may not be what they're looking for. But at first, put the elevator speech aside. You don't need it, and it's only going to be counterproductive.
Good. I think a key also is you said the words genuine and authentic. So this isn't just another technique to use. It's really a philosophy to adopt.
That's actually one of his laws, is the law of authenticity.
Right. And because it's so important, because when you do these things without authenticity, it is, like you say, nothing more than a technique. It's nothing more than a tactic, if you will. And you know, not that there aren't some people who can really fool the masses, you know, but very few. I mean, and the people who want to do that and do that are not very happy people, and they're typically not very successful, even financially successful, because there's an incongruency there that can only last for so long. No, we need to genuinely be interested in that person. We need to be authentic about it. And, you know, the best salespeople, the best leaders are always looking out for others. They're always, as Sam said in the Go-Giver, they're making their win about the other person's win. You know, great influencers, they're great influencers not because they push their ideas on others, not because they push themselves on others, but really because they gently pull. I really believe leadership and influence is about pull. Great leaders, great influencers attract people to themselves and to their ideas. And again, they don't do this through pushing, they do it through pulling. The greatest influencers ask themselves, you know, how does what I am asking this other person to do, how does it align with their goals, with their wants, with their needs, with their values? I love what one of my great mentors, Dondi Scumaci, says about this. And she's a wonderful speaker and a former great corporate leader. And she says, when it comes to leadership and influence, compliance will never take you where commitment can go. And I just think that's such a beautifully profound statement. It means we know that when it comes right down to it, great leadership is never about the leader. Great influence is never about the influencer, and great salesmanship is never about the salesperson. It's about the other person. It's about those people whose lives you choose to touch, whose lives you choose to add value to.
It sounds like we're talking about relationships, really building relationships with people.
Yeah, well, I absolutely. And, you know, Tal, in probably every book I've ever written or co-written, there's a saying in there, and I call this the golden rule of business, of sales, of networking, of influence, and that is, all things being equal, people will do business with and refer business to and allow themselves to be influenced by those people they know, like, and trust. And I believe it ultimately comes down to that.
Bob, to kind of piggyback on that, can you talk a little bit about how we can quickly identify some commonalities with people when we're trying to identify what will be of value to them?
Well, that's a great question, because it goes back to value being in the eyes of the beholder. So we've got to be able to ask them questions, and we've got to be able to really authentically listen, not listen so that we have the next answer, but listen in order simply to genuinely, to really listen, just for the sake of listening. And what's interesting, the paradox is, when you listen just to listen, you typically hear those things that is going to help you connect the benefits of what you sell, if you will, with their wants, needs, and desires. You know, I look at selling, and I see everything as some, because when you think of it, selling is simply finding out what somebody wants or needs and helping them to get it. And that's whether you're a professional salesperson or whether you're leading 1,000 people or 100 people or a committee of 5. What are you trying to do? You're finding out what they are going to align with, what they are going to want to be a part of, what's going to move them, and then helping to make that happen. So you're absolutely right. It's incumbent upon the leader or the influencer to ask the right questions and listen in order to really understand.
Hi, Bob. This is Steve.
Hi, Steve.
One of the authors that really influenced me as I think about human relationships, management, business, and leadership is, of course, Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. Even though I've read it a few times, looked back on it, the language is outdated, and yet the ideas in that book seem timeless, and I can go beyond whatever business situation Dale Carnegie might have been describing and say, you know, that really applies today. And I wonder how you see your ideas on go-giving and Dale Carnegie's, and if Dale Carnegie were on this panel talking to you about your ideas, what would be some of the things you would want to talk to him about, maybe try to clarify or align your ideas?
Well, if Dale Carnegie was on this broadcast, I probably would not say a word. I would just have my pen and paper out, and I would be just writing down everything he said. Just a brilliant man, and I love that book. It just made such a huge difference in my life at a time that I really needed it. I was also very fortunate because I grew up as the son of somebody who was, you know, and is still a person whose people skills are the best I've ever seen, and that's my dad. And I really believe, and I think Dale Carnegie would say the same thing, that the most important people skill, and I know this is what my dad has always had, and I suspect Dale probably as well, the most important people skill is a genuine interest in the other person.
Oh, yes.
It's a genuine, authentic interest in making that person feel good about themselves in a genuine way, make them feel good about the situation and about ourselves. Because that's really, when you think of it, what it's all about. And as leaders and as influencers, we're trying to build the people around us. It starts with ourselves, and I know that's another, you know, core value y'all have. It starts with us improving ourselves, which is why we want to continue to read and learn and study and attend events. But then it's really looking at those people around you and saying, you know, how can I be of service to them?
This is good. This is great. What we'll do now is finishing up our first segment, and we'll continue to the next one in just a few. I want to give our audience a break, and this has been a great discussion. So thank you guys. I really appreciate it. So just stay with me for now, but we'll conclude the first segment.